Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to be identifying the present and past tense of the verb to be. So let's take a look at what we already know about verbs. You probably remember how verbs change depending on the subject of the sentence, the noun or the pronoun, as it were. So in this sentence here, if the subject of my sentence is I would say walk, the root form of the verb. If I'm talking about you being one person, I would say you walk. But when it comes to he, she, or it, we add the s sound at the end of the word, at the end of the verb to make it he, she, or it walks. In the plural form, we stay with the root. We walk, you, meaning more than one person, walk, and they walk. So the one you need to remember when it comes to subject pronouns is if you're talking about he, she, or it, you have to add an S on the end. Now, today you're going to review a verb that is not an action verb, but it's still a verb. It's a special kind of verb called a linking verb. Let's read the following sentences and see if we can identify the verbs. I am happy. Where's the verb? Am. You are sick. Where's the verb? Are. We are in the gym. Where's the verb? Are. They are home today. Where is the verb? Are. He is my friend. Where's the verb? Is. Okay, so now you've had some warm-up. These verbs are forms of the verb to be. Am, are, and is, the three kinds of verbs you found in those sentences. Now, am, are, and is are called linking verbs because they link the subject to the words that describe them. Now, this is a little bit different when we work with linking verbs than when we have action verbs. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. If you look at the sentence towards the bottom of the screen, it says, I am happy. Let's start by diagramming this sentence. Where's the noun? I is the noun. Where's the verb? Am is the verb. Where's the adjective? Happy. Now, what is happy describing? Well, usually the word it's describing should come after the adjective, but there's no word there. Because we're using a linking verb, we can let happy describe the subject or the noun in the sentence I. See how it kind of makes a backwards arrow rather than its normal function or the normal direction of the arrow is usually going forward. All right, let me show you a little more complicated one. Another example. We are in the gym. Where are the nouns? Well, we is a noun and gym is a noun. Where's the verb? Are is the verb. Now, where are the adjectives? Both in and the are the adjectives. Now, the is working as a normal adjective, but because we have are in this sentence, in is going to get to break the rules and refer back to a subject, back to a noun, we. Let me show you. What does the describe? The is describing the gym. That's the normal direction that nouns and their adjectives usually flow. It usually goes adjective, noun. But when we have a linking verb like are, it can do this. In describes where we are, so it can flow backwards. That's why linking verbs are so important. So let's look at the present tense of the verb to be. If you look at this chart on the left-hand side, we have singular subjects and their verbs are with them, and we have plural subjects and their verbs are with them. So if you look at I, talking about myself, we would use the verb am, glad. Glad is talking about I. What about if if I'm talking to one person, I would say, you are glad. One person is being talked to, so we use the verb are. Glad is still able to go back and describe you. When we get to he or she or it, the verb form is. Glad can still describe it. Glad can still describe she. Glad can still describe he, but you have to use is. Let's look at the plural forms. When we're talking about a group of ourselves, we would say we are glad. Notice, when we're talking about you, the verb form doesn't change, so are again. When we're talking about a group of you are glad. We're using are again. They are glad when we're not talking to a group that we're describing, but I'm talking to you about another group. They are glad. So most of the time are is used. We just have to remember that when we're talking about I, we have a special form am. And when we're talking about he, she, or it, the form changes to is. Now let's think about what this will mean when we're talking about something in the past tense. If I am glad today, we would say yesterday did you guess it? Yesterday I was glad. Let's look at how the verb to be works in the past. Same chart, but we have singular and plural here. But now the verbs have changed. I was glad. If I'm talking about you and I'm talking to one person, you were glad. And when I'm talking to he or she or it, when I'm talking about them, but I'm still talking to you, I would say he was glad, she was glad, or it was glad. See, I'm still able to describe the noun back here using a linking verb. It's still considered the verb to be, it just has a different form. Was, were, was. Let's look at the plural forms. Were, we were glad, you were glad, and they were glad. Okay, let's move on to some more practice.